And we're back live here on Seahawk Talk. Hello, everybody. It's Wednesday, September 2. There's a touch of fall in the air, actually some rain. That can happen any season. But it is September 2, Wednesday, and that means we have fall sport head coaches on the show, or athletes if they choose to bump their coach off the lineup. Today we have Rob McGuinness, Jen Foster, Jane Walsh, and Craig O'Rourke II. They'll be coming up starting at 3:10 in today's show. But first, we're going to bring you in with the producers, and we've got a feature that we want to call Way Back Wednesday, and that's going to happen not too far from now. So here we go. Hello again, everybody. I'm Ed Habashore. Seahawk Talk on Wednesday, September 2. Let's get right into bringing our producers into the stream. Let's add Mike DeFusco, Andrew Pizzelli, and where's Joey? Joey Morelli. Come on in. Folks, how are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Good. Yeah, great.
Excellent. So we teased at the beginning, Way Back Wednesday, unless there's any breaking news. Does anybody see any breaking news on their side?
Only update I saw was a possible, me and Andrew were talking a bit about this Alvin Kamara, the New Orleans Saints threw it out there. They may be looking for a deal with him, but they're going to have to get some serious first round draft picks and some serious big playmakers. So we'll see how that develops throughout the hour, I guess.
Excellent. And Andrew, you've got a feature that you want to bring in called Way Back Wednesday. Tell us about that.
Yes. So not going too far way back, but 4 years ago, season opener for field hockey. I know we have Jen Foster coming on the show later on, so maybe we can get her perspective on this game. But 4 years ago, field hockey won 6-3 over UMass Dartmouth in their season opener. The win snapped a 3-game losing streak to the UMass Dartmouth Corsairs. Stars of the game were Erin Gendro, who scored twice and had 2 assists. Amber Cody scored twice. And although the Corsairs tied the game 3 times, the Seahawks never trailed. It was tight late. Seahawks pulled away in the final 6 minutes and kind of won going away at the very end. But it was an exciting back and forth type of game. And we do have some highlights, so let's just let the highlights speak for themselves.
All right, I'll bring that up right now. You mentioned Erin Gendro. Not only was she a star of this game, but she was also a star of Seahawk Talk back in the spring.
Yes.
Let's bring this in now, this package. And and here we go.
Seahawks keep possession. Gendro weaving her way middle, fires it towards the net again. It's loose in front. Scramble is poked into the net, and they score. 21-12 to go in the first half, and the Seahawks jump on top 1-0. Gendro walking in it up top, hesitates, throws it towards the net, and she scores. Long distance shot for Erin Gendro, and the Seahawks retake the lead. Gendro trying to walk it into the middle, fires it on net. Save made by Burke. Rebound pushed up high to the slot, fed once again down low. Mosca tries to hop it towards the net. It's rolling, and it'll get in. Burke got tangled up, and that one easily rolled into the net. Sarah Thompson has Venuto ahead of the field. Nice pass, hits her in stride. Venuto trying to feed it back in the middle. Venuto holds, she feeds it through, and she scores. Largest lead of the game. Gendro again firing it in towards the slider, hops over Burke, rolling towards the net, and they score. That one maybe took 2 or 3 bounces past Burke. The initial shot was from Aaron Gendro. And again, it could have been anybody in front. You had Cody out in front. You even had the freshman Olivia St. Jean. Ball put in play. Up top, Sarah Thompson sells it down, slides it across for Ashley Cody. She throws it towards the net. It changes direction, and they score. Neither team.
So you heard that goal horn quite a bit during the game.
Really establish any control midway through the second half, but the Seahawks found a way to pull away late. And the final seconds will tick off the clock. Aaron Gendro adds another goal to the afternoon. Corsairs dribble it in towards Severino, but that'll do it. 6-3 is the final. Salve Regina, they win here on opening day to start their 2016 season.
Very good. Well done, Andrew. Seahawks winning 6-3 on Thursday, September 1. But part of our Wednesday, way back Wednesday package today being Wednesday, September 2. Outstanding job by the Seahawks. That was a group of a senior-led team that graduated in 2017. So our current seniors who may be featured during Jen Forster's segment today were being recruited by Coach Forster at that time. Your microphone's muted, Andrew.
Like you said, it'll be interesting to get Coach's perspective on that game, and like you said, kind of the bit. It's far enough back, but not so far. There's kind of like a generational aspect with the team that people can. There's probably some players who she recruited who maybe were in attendance at that game.
Absolutely. Nice home game at Gaudet Field in Middletown, Rhode Island. Home field for the Seahawks. Gentlemen, anything else happening that we can start to get ready for? We've got Rob McGuinness leading us off at 3:10. He's got some captains that he probably will be announcing for the first time on this segment. And then he'll be followed by Jen Forster, Jane Walsh, women's soccer, and Craig O'Rourke II, men's soccer.
Nothing on my end. I think we can get off and running with Rob McGuinness.
Sweet.
Yeah, excited for the lineup.
And let's go to our daily dad joke, actually. This actually came from a wonderful calendar, a daily calendar that Andrew Pizzelli has on his desk over there. I actually took it over here today.
Relocated it.
Yeah.
Changed it.
So, the daily dad joke. Bring it back. There you go. Too gross. So that'll be perhaps a daily feature. We're ready to go to Coach McGuinness. I know he's been patient in the background. So, gentlemen, thank you very much. I'm sure Rob will appreciate the daily dad joke, but we'll look forward to seeing you guys back at the end of the show, or sometimes in the middle of a show if you have some commentary that you want to bring into the program with any of our guests. Thanks, guys. That's Andrew Pizzelli, Joey Morelli, and Michael DeFusco, producers now backstage on this broadcast. And we don't have to go too far to get to our next guest. And let me look around my sliding GoPro and bring in Rob McGuinness, 40 seconds ahead of time.
All right. Hi, Ed.
How's it going, Coach McGuinness?
It's going well. How are you?
Very good.
It's nice to see you again.
Same here. When we last talked was in the spring, officially through Seahawk Talk. We've had interaction through our WebEx meetings, staff-wise. But how did the news of students coming back to campus, but no athletic competition affect you and your sport?
Well, as I'm sure my peers and colleagues have noted for their teams, it's a disappointment not to have a competitive season, but ultimately it's for everyone's safe and healthy most. And when you think about a sport like ours in cross country, you wind up with large gatherings almost by default. You think about the start of a large race, and there's hundreds of people on the starting line. The trails are crowded. It's almost impossible to maintain physical distancing at various points in a cross country race situation. So I understand why we wouldn't want to try to compete. I know at some levels in some states, high schools, for example, they are trying in other states. And I think the whole sport is watching just to see what happens. And hopefully everybody there remains healthy and safe. But it certainly wasn't welcome news, but at least it gave us an opportunity to plan and to figure out what we would do with the practice time that we'll have this fall. So better to have that direction when we did. And I think we'll still make the most of the time that we have.
And Coach, how is your team or your athletes, how are they prepared with PPE? Are they looking forward to running perhaps with masks on?
You know, Ed, that's a great question. And maybe that's something we can do in a subsequent segment here on Seahawk Talk, because I myself have been trying out various masks on my runs to try to help them come up with a recommendation. And running with a mask on doesn't necessarily feel like the most comfortable thing. Again, it's what we have to do given the situation that we're in. But I can tell you from the trial runs that I've had, there are a few that were just ill-suited for the task. And certainly were not ones that I would recommend. Maybe next week I'll have a better set of data for you. I think what we're trying to do right now is understand what PPE meets the requirement for keeping people safe, for minimizing the aerosol spray of when we're breathing as we run, and still is functional. And we've seen all kinds of news coverage of doctors who've gone for long runs while wearing a mask, and they've worn pulse oximeters to demonstrate that there's no risk in terms of wearing a mask for a full duration of a run. But it's certainly something different, and it's a change that I think is making more than a few of us a little bit anxious. So once we get through, the end of this week, I should have some better information. I've tried about 3 or 4 different mask designs from various manufacturers. I've got a couple others still to go. I got a package today, actually, with some masks that I'll take out tomorrow morning and try on my morning run. And we'll just do our best to be compliant and stay safe.
And your sport really has its biggest crowd at the beginning of a race.
It does.
Or when you gather pre-race. But once you're off and running, you start to spread out, and that's what you want. You want to keep your distance.
Absolutely, Ed. And I think the challenge for us will be maintaining that physical distance during a workout, because we're used to packing up and running off of someone's shoulder or running on someone's hip. It's just how you operate in a typical cross-country workout. So the direction that we've got to keep so many feet to one side and so many feet behind will take a little bit of an adjustment. But once we understand the parameters and the requirements that apply to us, and I know we're going to go over that in a few weeks with Dave Cox and our other administrators, once we understand how we have to operate, we'll do it. Cross-country runners are adaptable. We're flexible. We will do what it takes to operate with the situation that we've got.
Rob, your team is always here for preseason. You get a lot of running in, but you also help out with the move-in, which is the shirt I have on.
Yes.
Seahawks on the Move. Talk about your involvement on that, and the fact that you're going to miss going up and down Miley stairs 3 flights at a time.
Yeah, I was going to compliment the green shirt there, Ed. That's definitely an indicator of move-in day. It feels so strange not to be on campus and doing freshman move-in. I think I've done the last 5 of them, definitely at least 5 out of the 9 years that I've been with the university. And typically we participate as all the other fall sports do. We have our practice that morning, and then we go over and we haul boxes up and down the stairs at Miley and Walgreen. And I've always been impressed at what an efficient job the athletes turn those moves into, because we make things move so quickly. And I know it helps the families that are coming in. The parents are always very impressed by the speed with which we get things unloaded and moved. And I do it just because it's fun sometimes to meet people and to help welcome them to the university. It's one of those first impression situations. And for these parents and families, move-in day can be a little bit stressful. If we're making it easier on them, then we're happy to do it. And sometimes that's the trade for having the privilege of being on campus a little bit early. We're expected to help out, and we're happy to do it.
Yesterday and today has been move-in days for first years, the class of 2024. So they arrived on a nice sunny day yesterday. The Seahawk mascot was out in PPE, and also a lot of families came in. So I imagine you had some freshman athletes coming in on both men's and women's teams. Talk about their experience in terms of arriving either Tuesday or Wednesday.
Well, from what I've heard so far, there was a lot of excitement leading up to move-in day. This class seems really eager to be here, which I certainly appreciate. And from what I've gathered so far, things went well. It seemed like it was fairly well organized. And I think it was the first inch. I know we've got a handful of athletes moving in today. They're probably wrapped up by now, but everyone was really interested to get to campus. They wanted to be here. They want to see what the week of welcome has to offer, because that's a totally new thing for freshman orientation. And we're looking forward to seeing what the next week holds for them and getting them off to a good start this semester. But so far, so good from what I gather.
And typically, Rob, at some point during your preseason, there's always, or you've started a tradition which has been this.
Oh, yes.
Jumping out of planes. A lot of the folks featured in this montage, I think, are seniors now. Jill LeBeau, Fran Moore. There's
Liv, yeah.
Liv, Olivia Owen, and there's Rob. You're gonna be missing that this year. That experience.
We are.
Or maybe you're going to get to it.
Well, we're going to try. I tried to figure out what Skydive Newport is doing this year. So ordinarily we would have done it during preseason week. Yesterday probably would have been jump day. We usually go on Tuesday during the week that we're on campus. And it seems like Skydive Newport is operating. They're doing their best to space things out and to limit the sizes of the groups that go over there. It seems like they're taking reservations for up to 4 at a time in a given group. So I will ask the team who wants to go jump out of an airplane this year and see if we've got enough people to at least fill out one group. Of course, I will go. I know for the last couple of years, and we'll see if maybe 2 others will join us, and we'll go either on a weekend day or if we can all shake free on a weekday early in the semester before the skydiving season ends. But we'll try to continue that tradition, at least in a small scale for this year. And hopefully we'll open it back up to the broader group once things get back to normal. But we're looking forward to it. I'm certainly looking forward to making, this will be my 4th jump. So always a fun time and a great view of Aquidneck Island.
You are a veteran of the sport of jumping out of a plane. I remember I think the very first time you guys did it, you did it on race day, and it wasn't the first time you did it, but the first time your team had joined you on it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a race that you as a team ended up winning on the women's side.
There must have been an adrenaline rush from coming out of a plane at 2 miles up, because they certainly ran like it later in the day.
Absolutely. We'll have some time next week to go over the captains, but several of the folks that have jumped out of a plane, actually all of the folks that have jumped out of a plane for you on the women's side are captains.
They are.
Kat Bruce, Sid DeCesare, Fran Moore, and Jillian LeBeau. But let's jump over to men's cross country and give me a few words about Aiden Lynch, your captain there.
Sure. Aiden is our top guy, most accomplished runner on the team. He's got a great background, great pedigree, came in from a strong high school program, really knows his stuff, and is someone who I'm sorry that I don't get to see him race his senior season, because Aiden's one of those guys who's always been right up around the contention for a spot on the all-conference team. And I was really hoping he'd get a shot at it as a senior. to finish out his career. But nonetheless, we'll be happy to have him in workouts and training through the season this year. But he was a co-captain last year with Chandler DeCruz. He knows the routine, and I'm sure he's well positioned to lead his teammates through a very different fall season. But happy to have Aiden for at least one more season of workouts.
Well, we can't wait to see the Seahawks out running around Aquidneck Island, because I know you go far and near.
Oh, yes.
And I believe, Andrew, someday, maybe this week or early next week, we'll have a Love Your Local feature, and it'll feature something, an area where you guys have done some of your running.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that, and definitely looking forward to having the team back on the roads and the trails around Newport. We're excited to get back to it.
All right. Take care, Rob.
Thanks, Ed. See you soon.
Thanks. That's Rob McGuinness, Salve Junior University men's and women's cross-country head coach. I'm Ed Habishaw. We're not going to take a break because our next guest is Jen Foster, and we're going to jump right over to her by saying, hello, Coach Foster. How are you?
Hi, Ed. How are you?
Very good. I know you tested this on your own.
Yes.
So what did it look like when you came into the studio and not a soul was there? We couldn't even add you to the stream.
Yeah. Just was in the backstage looking on.
Yep. It looks simple though, right?
Yes. It looks awesome.
What do you see backstage as a guest?
You actually just watch the show as it's going on, and you just, once it's time for you to go on, unmute yourself and you're ready to go.
Good. So you can actually be unmuted even while you're in backstage, because your audio doesn't get into the stream until you are on the screen. And I think StreamYard lets you know, hey, you're on now. Time to be a star.
Right.
So where are you streaming from today?
I am at home, obviously up in one of my daughter's rooms. Some quietness, hopefully, for a few minutes. But yeah,
now,
we're here.
Does school restart for them?
We are still anxiously waiting to find out what Newport's plans are. There's a town hall tonight, so finding out what kindergarten and second grade is going to look like. So we're anxiously waiting for that. That's for sure.
And I imagine that's a virtual town hall.
Yes. Yes.
Are you able to jump into that and watch it go on?
Yep. We can watch it. It's with the parents, so we're able to, Q&A and all of that with the superintendent. So it'll be interesting to find out, because I know some of the local towns nearby have already released their plans. So we're trying to find out what the schedule will look like for the coming weeks.
What grade is that going into?
Is going into second, and Garrett's going to be starting kindergarten. So both will be in the public schools.
Coach,
Yeah,
time just flies
it does.
like a Seahawk. Well, the sad news is that Addison won't be doing any stats for us this year.
Yes, I know it's going to take some adjusting for her not to be able to come to the games this fall.
Well, she may be able to review film with Andrew Pizzelli like we did at the beginning of today's episode with Way Back Wednesday, featuring your win over UMass Dartmouth from 2016 on September 1, a 6-3 final. She may have to just stay sharp in her skills by going over old game film.
I'm sure she will. She's a pro at these Zooms and WebEx meetings now, I think.
She can do that on Way Back Wednesday, Throwback Thursday, Flashback Friday, you name it. So how are things going with Seahawk Field Hockey? You are very active social media-wise. I really appreciate you requesting graphics so that you can promote your appearance on Seahawk Talk. Tell me about how you've developed your skills in that area.
It's been a learning experience. I know we're trying to get some more of our players to actually participate this fall. We talked about that last night on our team Zoom, to do a social media committee. Always looking for new ideas. We follow a lot of different schools, so that also gives us some ideas to go forward with. But asking the players for their opinions. We did a lot of takeovers this summer, which were great to see what our players were up to. Featured some alums, so trying to look for continued stuff to put up online. I know our recruits and our alums and our fans love to see what the team's up to, so we're going to keep it as fresh as we can moving forward through the fall.
And speaking of recruiting, how has that been for you in this environment?
It's been interesting. We've done a lot of Zooms. I feel like it's just an easy way to connect, not having to make people travel. Because we do have some recruits in states that would be against the travel restrictions for Rhode Island. But I have given some in-person tours of campus, but a lot of Zooms over the past couple of months. Just really get our preliminary information out, get to know the recruits and what they're looking for in a college. Talking a lot about the upcoming application process and what that will look like. I know it is a big concern for a lot of 2021s. Am I not being seen enough? What can I do? So I've been getting a lot of footage and also talking to high school coaches who really can give you a good idea of character and, obviously the skill set, but what else can they bring to our program? So it's been a little more researching, but I normally would probably be doing that anyway if it was a normal year where we could be constantly having people on campus.
So I imagine the athletes that were fortunate enough have banked a lot of game footage so that they can share it with you since they're probably not playing this season as well.
Yeah, pretty much a lot of our recruits are going to somehow play. Their states are looking forward to moving some plans forward. We have girls in Connecticut, Massachusetts, even New Hampshire. So everyone is just trying to figure out what that will actually look like. But from what I've heard, primarily everyone is looking to play at the high school level. It will look a lot different, but it'll be good for them at least to get some senior games. And I think that's an important part to, end your high school career with.
Coach, your coaches group within the CCC, they've probably met a couple of times to discuss, hey, what is everybody doing in the fall? What are you guys doing in your fall, especially with your captains, Tori Bickle, Taylor Bulis, and Kate Foley?
Yeah, we're going to be practicing 4 days a week. We'll start in mid-September, and that will run all the way up through late October, ending on Halloween, actually. But we're going to practice 4 days a week. We have at least a team meeting once a week, right? They'll begin virtually, but then we'll hopefully be able to do more and more in person, I'm hoping, as the semester goes on, but we'll see how that goes. But with practices, we'll start in pods, so we'll have 3 groups. Just begin practices, and that will be hopefully 2 weeks, and then we can maybe open things up a little bit more. But we'll be, practicing socially distancing. Masks, of course, have been discussed. We've talked that with the girls to start practicing with their masks on as much as possible. But we're actually going to be practicing predominantly at Topa Field this fall, just because Gaudet is a carpool distance, and having to get in cars to go over there isn't ideal. So this way the girls can walk to Topa for the ones that live on campus, and then the ones that live off will be able to drive their own cars. So it'll be a little different experience for us being at Topa, but excited to try out the different venues and, see what it's like to play field hockey on that surface.
So they've yet to feel the a little bit taller grass on the Topa surface, right?
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it goes. It'll be a little bit of a learning curve, but I know the girls adapt. We always did. I remember when Gaudet was first put in, it was thicker and slower, and it got to be, now it's so fast and quick. So it just takes some adjusting. I told the girls we really need to be able to adapt and pivot as needed, when things change. So, just be ready to go, be happy to be out there. I have some coaching colleagues at other schools that they're either remote, they're not even getting to play this fall. So we really got to take advantage of every day and be smart, be good leaders on campus, following all the guidelines that have been put out. So anxious to get out there. We got a big group of freshmen that are joining us. So, I know the girls are just eager to find ways to, be able to connect safely and then get out in the field and start playing.
And when you do get to play outside competition, that may come in the springtime. What will that feel like to have a traditional fall sport competing in the spring?
It's going to be a lot different. It kind of brings me back to my days when I was coaching lacrosse. I told the girls, this is what we used to do for lacrosse. We'd have our non-traditional in the fall and really get to prepare. I think it's great for the freshmen. They get some development time. They're not being thrown into games. At the same time, they're trying to get used to college academics. So there is some pluses to it. We'll be able to train more, do more of the weight room together leading into season. So, it will be different, but I think there are some benefits to it as well, and eager to see what the schedule might look like for us in the spring.
So your athletes must have been really excited when they heard only practice 4 days a week. That's awesome.
Yeah, a little adjustment with it. But I think they want to be on the field. I know these girls, they work hard and they love to play. So They were willing to do whatever. I know we got a lot of planners on our team like myself who like to just know what the schedule is going to be. And I think this situation has just taught us that, you can plan, but things might change. So just try to take it, 1 week at a time and see how things go, especially as we start moving everybody back on campus.
Excellent. Speaking of planners, let's bring in our next guest, Jane Walsh.
Hey, Jane.
Hi.
She didn't know we were going to, but I wanted to do a quick crossover with you guys since Jane's next, following Jen, and we go from field hockey to soccer. And I wanted to get Jane on her scheduled time, 2:30 on Wednesdays.
Yeah, 3:30.
I mean, 3:30. Yeah. The dentist is 2:30, right?
Right. Well, hello. Happy to be here.
Excellent. Coach Foster, thank you very much. We look forward to talking to you.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye, Jen.
We say goodbye to Jen Foster and bring in Coach Walsh. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Ed. How are you?
Folks don't know, you're just right down the hall from me.
Literally. Yeah.
But thankfully, we've got distancing, so we can be mask-free right now.
Right.
I got to turn my camera on.
Oh.
It only runs for 30 minutes at a time, so I apologize for that.
Oh, that's okay.
And let me show the live view versus the back of the camera view. I was afraid that would happen, but it happened right on time at
Right on cue.
2:31. I should have touched a button to avoid that turnoff. So, Coach Walsh, what have you been doing today?
Today's been a busy day. Obviously, it's the second day of first year move-in, and I was actually working the COVID testing station downstairs from 11 to 2. So I did that yesterday as well. So that was very busy. Ton of new students coming on campus and getting their COVID tests. And I've just been checking in with my first year players as well, periodically throughout yesterday and today, and just trying to stay busy.
What new soccer players have arrived in the last 2 days?
So we actually have all of our first years on campus. This year we only have 4. Last year we brought in a huge class of about 12, and so this year 4 was just enough for us. But the 4 that are on campus now are Zoe Cox, Emily Rio, Ellen Nerger, and Summer Foy.
And where are they all coming from?
Oh, geez, all over the place. So Zoe's from Massachusetts. Emily is from Massachusetts. In fact, Ellen's from Massachusetts. All 3 of them are from Massachusetts. And then Summer is from New York.
Excellent. Coach, how are they adjusting to being on campus after, as seniors, they lost out on a lot of activities there. Obviously not soccer if it were in the fall, right. But they may have played other sports as well. And now they've spent an entire summer anticipating the start of school. What's it been like for them?
So I think it's been challenging for them. They were kind of used to the gloomy news when they found out that we wouldn't actually be competing, this fall, and with their traditional orientations being canceled. The feedback that I got was like, we already had our graduation kind of taken away from us. We were kind of, at peace with with all the changes, at this point. But I think coming onto campus, there's an air of excitement, a little bit of nerves too, and it's interesting to kind of mentor them in this way right now, because normally, we're all on campus as a team, and now they're here, a little bit more as individuals, trying to get, acclimated and enjoy the week of welcome, and, just kind of get the lay of the land, which usually they get to do as a team. So it's a little bit different, but I think overall they're just kind of like excited, but a little tentative at the same time.
Truthfully, you end up doing more coaching in this environment than in a game environment. Yeah,
absolutely. At least on the mental side of things, definitely keeping everybody on track and motivated, and just reassuring them that we can make it through this. We'll just adapt and roll with the punches, and we might not know exactly what the end result is going to look like, but we'll get there, and we'll make it a positive experience in the process.
Coach, you have a veteran lineup with 6 seniors, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Breslin, Cody, DeFalco, Hanley, both Megan and Mia Papero, and that's 6 seniors right there. Talk about what you expect from them leadership-wise.
Well, I think this is going to be an interesting fall for them. That class has evolved so much since they were freshmen, and I think have really kind of stepped into their own as mature veterans on the team. We still don't have captains. We normally vote and decide who our captains are in the spring. And with only having one practice or a handful of practices in the spring, I just didn't feel like it was appropriate to name captains yet. So right now they've just been trying to work as a group as best as they can, especially from a distance, to solve problems. And I really have been calling on them as a group to help lead the team. But I think that they've already shown that they're very adaptable, and they've been stepping up to the plate with the things that I need from them during this totally unprecedented time where everything's we're all on a learning curve. And they've done really well with things so far. So I would imagine that as we head into, coming back to campus and starting practices later in the month, that they will, step up as they have been this entire time.
And what do you see for them in a practice setting? We spoke with Jen Foster just before you, and she's already got her practice plan as a 4-day-a-week practice setting. Are you doing something similar, or what differences might you have?
Yeah, very similar. So we're gonna have a 6-week season with 4 practices a week, which I think is appropriate. I think doing anything more than that right now, especially without competitions, would just be a little bit of overkill. So we're gonna go 4 days a week, and hopefully build in a little bit of strength training and conditioning in there as well, and 2-hour blocks of time. They're going to start out in their pods, and then hopefully if everything goes well and we're still COVID free on campus, we can integrate the team back together and be one big team and start scrimmaging and things like that. But for now, the game plan is 4 times a week, and I think that'll be good, especially because usually the semester that we are in season, we do well academically, but not as well as we do when we are out of season. So this will really give them a chance to, have a great year academically, both in the fall and the spring.
And do you have a favorite mask that you love for its functionality or its fashionability?
Well, so my mom makes masks. Yes, she loves to sew. She's very creative when it comes to that. She's made all kinds of things throughout my entire life: bags, little toiletry bags, just anything you can imagine. She's come up with. And in fact, for the team, she's sewed together a T-shirt quilt. So at the end of your banquet, at the end of our year banquet, we have like a lucky winner of the T-shirt quilt, and she sews it together. So anyway, she makes some really beautiful masks with a cool design, and I actually don't have it on me right now. I just have my paper mask for the time being.
But functional for now.
Yes. But those masks are really cool because I get to show my personality. But one of them is kind of like a turquoisey color with little zebras on it, and I like that one.
So function and fashion at the same time.
Yeah. Yep.
Coach, what do you anticipate the spring looking like for your sport?
Well, if everything goes well, we'll be able to have somewhat of an abbreviated season. We're looking to try to play half of our schedule, which is about 10 games, and that would include like a conference sort of playoff, round as well. It wouldn't be a full or traditional playoff, plan, but it would be pretty close. And hopefully, 1 to 2 games a week Again, it would probably be a little bit of a shorter season, but we're kind of all over the place because we have to coordinate with the other schools in the CCC. But last week we had our coaches conference call, and we all seem to be on the same page for what we want out of this season. And first and foremost, we want to make this a valuable experience for the student athletes, especially the seniors who are really missing out on a lot at this point. We want to make this a positive and memorable experience for them. And number two, we want to preserve everyone's eligibility. So if they choose to come back and do an extra year, they're able to.
Excellent. And percentage-wise, how many of your athletes have said, Coach, yeah, I would love to have that extra year if we don't exceed the 50% threshold in games? What percentage-wise have said, I'm on board for that. I'll be a 5-year player?
Right. So interestingly enough, 4 out of our 6 seniors have confirmed that they would like to come back. Megan and Mia Papiro already had that planned out from the time they're about sophomores, I think, maybe even freshmen. So they are on track for that, and they will definitely be coming back. And then Kara Cody and Molly Breslin have both expressed interest in coming back as well, and I believe they have submitted their applications. So that's good. And then outside of that, I'd say there's probably been about 3 or so that have confirmed, but I haven't been putting too much pressure on them at this point because I still have a lot of time, I think, to figure it out and decide what they want to do.
And that could apply to anybody in any class year, correct?
Yes.
Including your first years as they arrive. So someone that's going to help us with some compliance conversation can join us on the stream right now. Let's welcome in Craig O'Rourke II. Hello, Coach. How are you?
Good. Yourself, Jane?
Very good. We want to have this crossover between men's and women's soccer coaches. Thank Coach Walsh for her time on Seahawk Talk on Wednesday, September 2.
See you later.
Thanks, Coach. That's Jane Walsh. I'm Ed Habashar, and now we're joined by Craig O'Rourke II. How are you, Coach?
Always good. Good to see you, Ed.
You too. We have some nice, smooth transitions. So I've got a couple of images that I want to show on screen, but have you been on campus in the last 2 days?
Yep. I was there this morning. I was there yesterday.
Excellent. Talk about the folks that have arrived, freshman-wise, that are saying, "Yeah, I'm here to play men's soccer."
I haven't seen any of them in the last 2 days, but yeah, we had freshmen starting to arrive as of last week for quarantine, and then we've had freshmen moving in for the last couple of days as the week of welcome kicks off tomorrow.
Week of welcome. How ready are they?
I think predominantly, I think the freshman class as a whole is ready to get started. I mean, there was a great deal of uncertainty, I think, leading up to the fall with what was going on during the summer due to the pandemic. But now that we've been able to welcome a good portion of the residential population, particularly the freshman class, back to the campus, I think they're ready to start experiencing the campus life and the community setting and everything that Salve Regina has to offer here in Newport.
Coach, what message have they heard from you in terms of making sure it's a safe campus, that they do the right thing, and they can be leaders as freshmen as well, and saying, hey, listen, we can't be doing that activity. This is what we've got to do to make sure that not only do we arrive on campus and have class on campus, but we also stay on campus.
Yeah, I've forwarded out all the information that's been provided by the Back to Salve plan, and referred all of our student athletes to the website for the most up-to-date information. The university as a whole is prescribing and following the guidelines as set forth by the Rhode Island Department of Health and the Center for Disease Control. We have to make sure that we limit any and all gatherings, both indoor and outdoors, to 15 or fewer people. Masks must be worn at all times, both indoors and outdoors. I myself am going to be having my own asymptomatic COVID-19 screening performed tomorrow. I know all freshmen, upon their arrival, check-in, and picking up their student IDs, are having their asymptomatic testing done, and then all of our upperclassmen, employees and staff are scheduling theirs, similar to myself, and everybody in the community will have a full COVID-19 screening performed as the community comes back together and we get the fall semester underway.
Yeah, I had mine last week when I was volunteering for the COVID testing. It's a nice, quick, and easy test. Our athletic trainers were on hand. I think Rebecca Ramirez McKinley was the attendant when I did my self-test, and couldn't have been any easier, and I was very happy with the results.
It's always good.
So you've got 8 or 9 class of 2024 guys coming in?
No, we actually have, I think, 16 that'll be trying out for the program. We brought in a recruiting class of 8, but we've been contacted by a large number of walk-ons that also want to try out. So we're gonna have a pretty large, what would have been preseason camp, although those plans were put on an indefinite hiatus due to the pandemic. So we're gonna have an operating roster of 35 for this fall, and hopefully, if we are able to play the conference schedule this spring, we will have to work down to a more reasonable number for the 2020-2021 roster. But we're very fortunate that we were able to bring in a large number of bodies and a very high level of talent to revitalize the program and restock our banks and get ready for the challenges of the Commonwealth Coast Conference.
You talk about restocking the bank. Talk about your championship run last year.
The 2019 season, we graduated a very, very talented class in the spring of 2019, and I don't think many people in the conference thought that we would be able to regain the level of play and possession and offensive prowess that we had in the 2018 season when we set a school record with 62 goals. And to be perfectly frank, I myself am a bit guilty of that. We graduated such a talented class that spring that in our preseason meetings as a coaching staff with the captains, I think our goal was just to try to finish top 5 and ideally secure a home game for the conference tournament in the first round as being a top 4 seed for the quarterfinals. And then throughout the course of the season, as the year evolved and the roster came together and we were able to identify roles and train people within the system and start gaining a greater degree of depth and become a bit more proficient in everything that we did both on and off the ball, we started to have more and more success and found ourselves on the winning end of more and more games, and we didn't drop a conference result for the second year in a row. And as such, we were able to secure the number 1 seed, and in gaining the number 1 seed, we locked up home field advantage throughout the conference tournament, recognizing the mistakes that we had made in the 2018 postseason when we were also a top seed and having home field advantage. We were quickly able to identify that to continue our mindset of taking everything one game at a time and not getting ahead of ourselves and not looking too far down the road. And in getting the first round bye as the 1 seed, we were able to come together and watch the 3 quarterfinals. We saw the upset of the 5 seed overtaking the 4 seed in Springfield when Nichols was able to upset Western New England. We started immediately that day making plans for how we were going to match up with Nichols. As we left the film room, went straight to the training pitch and had a successful semifinal bout against Nichols. Got to the championship final and found ourselves facing Endicott. We joked with the Endicott staff that it was a championship match that was 2 years in the making, as the 2018 season played out with Endicott and us being the top 2 seeds, but neither of us made it to the championship in 18. So it was a final that had been delayed a year, but we were finally able to play last fall here in Newport. After 3 years of 0-0 contests between the 2 programs, we had a championship first half that adhered to that plan of 0-0, and then we went into a second half that immediately erupted for goals as We surrendered a penalty kick in the opening minute of the second half. Endicott buried that. We came back to level 1-1. Endicott went up 2-1. Then we came back to level 2-2. We forced it into overtime. I thought we had the majority of the ball in the overtime and were able to produce a fair amount of chances. And fortunately enough, we created a chance that they finished for us in the second overtime that secured the championship for us and saw us go back to the NCAAs.
Where you came home from Virginia without losing.
Without losing, soccer's solution to soccer's problem, to play 110 minutes of scoreless action, but still needing someone to advance in a tournament. We battled what would have been, or what eventually became, the number 16 team in the nation in Rowan University, the profs, as it is. I didn't realize they were the profs until we played them in the tournament. 0-0 through 110 minutes. Both teams had chances to win it. We went to penalties, and Rowan eliminated us on penalty kicks. So the result went into our final record as a draw, but we were not going to be able to go any further in the NCAA tournament.
Well, that's the start of Seahawk Talk for Craig O'Rourke II in 2020. As Andrew Pizzelli posted in YouTube, you cannot be dethroned in 2020. You'll take your crown into 2021. What are you looking forward to as far as being able to be competitive in 2021?
Honestly, we're just hopeful to get those 9 conference games in this spring. We want to definitely protect what we've been able to do the last 2 years of having not dropped a conference result since 2017. We know the bullseye will be painted on our backs, that every team in the conference will be gunning for us. We return a fantastic unit of young men. I think we have the talent, both in terms of the returnees and in the infusion of the new talent that we've brought in with the freshman class. And honestly, I'm just hopeful we're going to get on the field and actually play a live match, because I know right now in this pandemic, nothing at this point is guaranteed. So keep everyone healthy, keep everyone safe, and hopefully, come the spring, be back out on the field and able to play the sport we love.
Excellent. Well, we'll have more to talk out throughout the fall. I haven't seen your practice schedule yet, but hopefully it works within this 3:40 time frame
It does.
for Seahawk Talk on Wednesdays. Even if we have to go to Topa Field or wherever you are practicing.
Okay. It's always nice to take the show on the road. Nice to know we have that flexibility.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Craig. Good seeing you, and we'll see you around campus.
See you around campus, Ed. Take care and be safe.
You too. Thanks. That's Craig O'Rourke II. I'm Ed Habishaw. We'll be back after a short break and bring you a wrap-up with Pizzelli, Morelli, and DeFusco. Stay with us on Seahawk Talk. Let me get the right overlay. And there we go. And welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm Ed Habishaw, the host, and let's bring in our producers. Michael, Andrew, and Joey. Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
Good.
What was happening backstage? First of all, I got to get on these coaches. We got to get more commentary going on this stream, because I expected more with Coach O'Rourke's group, because he sent out an email to over 120 folks just before the start of the stream, and not a single comment except for Andrew Pizzelli to come in.
Texting him, that's usually what they do. So I'm sure Craig's phone blew up, not the comment section.
Was blowing up. Darn it. I did see one chat from Facebook, but I don't think it applied to us, so we didn't show it, right, Joey?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was funny. I almost put it up, but by the time I noticed it, I thought it was too late. I was like,
Yeah. I don't think it applied to us. First of all, it was 2 questions, and it wasn't applicable to our stream, so fortunately our viewers and listeners don't get a chance to see it or hear us.
I think it was a joke because we had all the hosts or all the coaches on the screen at the same time.
Oh yeah.
I think that's what he was making fun of. But
so in our private chat, I was able to peek in during conversation with Coach, and what I love about StreamYard is the ability to let the coach have the full screen. That way I'm hidden, so I can be off doing something off camera, and responding to something while not making it too obvious. But Andrew and Michael, you've got some news that you saw while the show was underway. Go at it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's go with the first one. This was pretty big. Vin Scully, the longtime legendary Dodgers broadcaster, has called everything from Kirk Gibson back in that series to 2 years old, joined Twitter officially. So that's very big for him. I can't wait to see what's going to come from that. He's expanding his clout, if you want to use that terminology for it. So
yeah.
And then also 2 more things, actually, just recently. 2 quarterbacks named starters. Tyrod Taylor was named the Week 1 starter for the Chargers recently, and Dwayne Haskins named the Week 1 starter for the Redskins. So we'll see how they do in the NFL season, which is just around the corner.
They need him
so
to be
first
the
a few thoughts on
it's not an earned it. We're praying that he's the starter.
Yeah, no, he's talented. 2 talented guys finally getting Tyrod finally getting a shot after being the backup there in was it Baltimore for so long. So it's exciting for him,
I had a quick thought on Vin Scully, though. Is he limited to 140 characters?
He
shouldn't be. He should be allowed as many characters as
he
in typical fashion, though. Because to that point, Ed, he didn't tweet. He tweeted, but attached a video of him talking, because I think, like you said, that's really going to circumvent the character to just use up that 240 seconds of video I'm allowed.
Oh yeah, we're looking forward to that. I can pull up the share screen if we have the time, but it looks like
I'd love to see his first actual tweet.
Yeah, I got to hear. Bleacher Report broke this.
So while Michael's doing that,
all right, let me
Andrew, what have you got going on in the final 2 minutes of this program?
Well, the greatest words in all of sports, Game 7. So
love it.
Last night, an epic Game 7 in the NBA between the Jazz and the Nuggets. A slugfest. I mean, the score usually NBA games nowadays have halftime scores that were the final score of last night's Jazz Nuggets game. Tonight, another big Game 7. Rockets, Thunder, the upstart Thunder, led by Chris Paul, who joined them after being on the Rockets last year, trying to pull the upset. He's leading a young, hungry, scrappy team. I think it's going to be a little more high scoring. It could be 80-78 at halftime in that game. But I like the Thunder for the storyline. It'd be a great storyline. So
excellent.
Don't want to miss that one.
You're right. Game 7 is the best. And whenever there's an elimination game, no matter what the length of the series, even the 1-game playoffs, wild card games in baseball, absolutely love them, because winner goes on and the loser doesn't.
Yep.
That's it.
So this is Vin Scully. Can you click play on that?
Yes, I can go ahead and do that. Here we go. This is his
Hi,
first
everybody, and a very
Oh,
making his debut media, and it's nice to be welcomed. I'm delighted to see if I can't serve you in any way, shape, or form. We
you
might
look so young.
a famous date in baseball, or a player, or a team, and hopefully nothing controversial. This is strictly a meeting of friends having some fun talking about our favorite subject. So pull up a chair and be ready to join me, hopefully in the very near future, as we start our careers together on social media.
I
That
feel
is
relaxed
awesome.
already. There's a little bit of patter of rain, Vince Scully's voice. I feel the leaving my shoulders.
That's so awesome. And speaking of friends gathering to talk sports, as we are here, let's share this for one of our producers, Matt Sylvia. Thank you for your commentary.
Yeah.
Hearing him,
See him on there. Great athlete here at Salve. Great athlete. I think he led the CCC in picks his junior year, and he was a great teammate to me over at East Greenwich High School. Played both baseball together. So awesome to hear from him here.
Well, great having you guys on the show, as well as our guests today, Rob McGuinness, Jen Foster, Jane Walsh, and Craig O'Rourke II. We'll be back tomorrow with more fall coaches, football, women's volleyball, equestrian, and sailing. So Kevin Gilmartin, Sebastian Nordsey, Chelsea Francis. Well, there I go. You can still hear me, but that just means it's been a half hour since I was last pressing that camera. And let me press it once more and try to figure out some way to figure out that timing. And John Ingles from sailing. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll stick around and have a post-show wrap-up, but we'll go from here. I'm Ed Habishaw. Thanks for joining us today on Seahawk Talk. We'll be back tomorrow with more fall sports. Stay with us then.